very brief introduction to capitalism. So every economy has to answer three questions. Those questions are, what are we going to produce? Are we going to be an agricultural country? Are we going to be an industrial country? Are we going to make steel? Are we going to make electronics? What is it that we're going to produce? And second, you have to decide how. Country like the United States, we try to do things with little labor, lots of capital, lots of machines, big assembly lines with a few workers, robots everywhere. A country like Vietnam, much lower wages. They're going to be much more labor intensive in what they do. Brazil, much more labor intensive in what they do, but more capital intensive than Vietnam, less capital intensive. We have to decide how we're going to produce. And then finally, the system has to figure out who's going to get the money that's created by this. Is it going to get equally distributed among everyone? Are the workers going to make nothing and a few people going to make everything? Is there going to be a spread of income? How do we know? How do we decide who's going to get what? There are kind of three categories of systems in our world. There are countries that are predominantly capitalist. Now, understand that there is no country that is all capitalist. The closest we have we call mixed capitalism, where it's capitalism and something else. The second biggest, most common system in the world is called socialism. And then there's a bunch of other isms. There's feudalism and fascism and lots of other isms, communism. And there might be pieces of something in any country that's one of those things. Feudalism used to be the dominant economic system in the world. Fascism was Nazi Germany and Italy, gone mostly from the world. So three systems. So what is capitalism? Why do we care? What is capitalism? Capitalism, named by our buddy Karl Marx, who we'll talk about in a minute. Capitalism has three basic traits. Number one, the capital is owned by private individuals. You and I can own the capital, the means of production. Number two, capitalism is about markets. In fact, some people will call capitalism a market economy or the price system. Markets decide how resources are allocated in capitalist system. Markets answer the questions. Markets decide what get produced, how it's produced, and markets decide how we get paid. And then finally, in capitalism, you're supposed to do what's best for you. Your motivation is your own self-interest. So where do we start with capitalism? We start with that private ownership of capital. That private ownership of capital means whether you're Tony Stark or Henry Ford, you get the benefits of success when you succeed. Somebody has to decide, hey, I can start a tech company. I can build cars and an assembly line. I can do something which consumers want done. If I'm wrong, I'm going to lose. I'm taking that risk. I'm bearing the burden. But in exchange for that, in exchange for my ideas and my willingness to bear the risk of it all, I get rewarded if we succeed in ways that the workers don't, that other people don't. Markets. We've already talked about markets. We'll talk about markets more. We'll talk about markets all day long. Markets are places where buyers and sellers come together and negotiate and exchange. In Adam Smith's world, everything's equal in those markets. The buyers and the sellers have an equal say in things. When that's true, when everybody has perfect information, when we know what's going on, markets are going to give us great answers. Markets are going to not make us decide ahead of time. Markets tell us through prices, through other mechanisms. We see where opportunities exist. We take advantage of them. So we love markets. Economists love markets when they work correctly. Then finally, there's self-interest, and that goes back to Adam Smith's phrase, the invisible hand. If you start out to set up a restaurant and you want to make yourself wealthy in the restaurant business. To do it, you're going to have to offer good food and good service and reasonable prices. If consumers think your food's bad or your service is bad or your prices are too high, you're not going to succeed in the long run. So what's good for you as a business person is good for society at the same time. Adam Smith thought of this as the invisible hand, that you are led to do the right thing. The market makes you do the right thing if you pursue what you think your own self-interest is. So why do economists love capitalism? And we love capitalism generally, not everybody, but most people. First, capitalism provides positive incentives. We've already talked about this. Capitalism says the people who work the hardest, who has the best ideas, who come up with the new things, who are out there working hard and trying, those people get rewarded. Incentives. We get a reward. It's not that other economic systems don't create incentives. We just think they create bad incentives, what we call perverse incentives. We want you to have an incentive to work hard and do great things and use your imagination and create and all this other stuff. And we think markets and capitalism do that. That means that capitalist societies will be innovative. In capitalist societies, if you look around the world, it's always been the capitalist societies that had the new ideas and the new innovations and are always turning things. Because again, there's a reward for the innovator. The other advantage of capitalism is that everything's decentralized. Nobody has to make big decisions about the whole economy. Everybody just makes decisions about themselves. So instead of a small group of government bureaucrats deciding how things are going to work, everybody gets to make their own choices. And if we make good choices, we come out ahead. If we make bad choices, somebody else is going to jump in and steal all our customers, and society is still going to be better off. So decentralized decision-making is a very important truth about capitalism. We don't think that centralized decision-making works. It's hard to find an economist who believes in the power of centralized decision-making. We all like that decentralized idea. And related to all this, of course, then, is that capitalism provides opportunity. You can be Andrew Carnegie, come to America with $25 in your pocket, and when you die, you're the richest man in the world. Other economic systems don't generally work that way. Capitalism is the system that says you can start out with nothing and end up with everything, and we like that. Now, why did Karl Marx not think too much of capitalism? He did say that capitalists have done greater things than any group that came before them. He was very complimentary about capitalists right before he said we should kill them all. In Marx's mind, capitalism leads to uneven positions of power, where the capitalists are exploiting the workers primarily, where the capitalists are getting rich by taking advantage of the work that the workers do. And so once the factories are built, we can get rid of the capitalist and everything will work much better, and the workers will all be happier and wealthier and wiser, and all that's good. So in Marx's world, the few are going to end up running the world of capitalism. The capitalists are going to end up working, and everybody else is going to get exploited. They're going to get taken advantage of. The problem is you need, in Marx's world, capitalism before you can have communism, not socialism, communism. We need to move from capitalism, feudalism to communism, and that presupposes that what you did in that capitalism is all you need to do. We kind of think you need stuff going on all the time and new inventions and where's that going to come from if you've killed all the capitalists? So anyway, hopefully you have the idea why we like capitalism.